Hi, and welcome to Decoding AQ, helping you to learn the tools, mindsets, and actions to thrive in an ever-changing world. Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Decoding AQ. With me today, I have a guest who's a little bit different from our ordinary guests. And in fact, he was a recommendation that I need to get on the show by our editor, by James. I have Charles
Ferri.
Ferri. That's
I'll
right.
take
We knew that.
I'll take Ferrari
Take
any day.
Ferrari. Ferri,
Any day of the week, I'll take Ferrari, but it is
take that.
Italian. It
I
is
love it.
Italian. It's
So,
a Ferri.
the co-founder and CEO of the Hudson House Distillery, a Manhattan banker not happy with his life. After nearly 10 years, he made the choice to get out, setting up several nightclubs, lounges, and his own vodka brand, and now turned destination distillery experience owner. I'm going to learn a bit more about that. He's been the creator of Star Vodka, a journey of research, took him to Moscow, learn how they do it or how you don't want to do it, and a desire to do it better, and succeeding by never giving up. The Hudson House New York is the first of its kind in the region, hosting a craft distillery, event venue, boutique hotel, and restaurant. And from complex zoning challenges, it's a story of grit, perseverance, and relentless passion to not do things just to do them, but to do them in the best possible way. So a story in part of the right place, right time, the tenacity in building a community and finding the right people to believe in your vision. So Charles, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ross. I appreciate it. I think I'm ready for a cocktail now. That was very excellent. I'm done. We'll cheers to a nice drink.
Or maybe a
Thank you.
whiskey for you
Yeah.
that you're about to launch. So
I did bring props here, so
you bought some props. That's great.
you could drink virtually with me.
Nice. Well, my first question is, what did the 8-year-old Charles want to do?
Oh, this is a bigger situation here. I think there's so much pressure on young people to know what they should be. You should know who you want to be, right? From a very young age. Remember, what are you going to be when you grow up, right? I mean, everyone hears the same thing. And I have two young kids now, and it's so much pressure with this world between the internet and all things going on here is you're supposed to figure your life out right away. I'm still figuring my life out, right? I'm 50 years old and I'm still, learning and experiencing. I'm still curious, but it's so hard as a young person to try to figure out what you should be. And I think my hardest thing was I listened too much to what other people were telling me, what I should be, what I should study, what I want. And I didn't listen to myself enough to figure out what I did like to do personally, who I was. And I think the hardest part was I was basically living someone else's life for a very long period of time. And I'm sure a lot of the people are the same way. They're just told what they should be or what they should like. And it's parents, they don't know. They want you to, they want you to be the best you could possibly be, right? And sometimes they maybe don't think and listen to their children and listen to what they really want to do. And they just, you're trying to be the best parent you can, and that's it. So, at 8 years old, I wanted to be a football player, American football, but I like soccer as well, European football, right? I played both as an athlete, and that was pretty much me. We grew up in a very modest household. So I think sports, I excelled at sports. And so I stood out. So I think my family was recognized for being, Charles is the, star wide receiver, or he's the great soccer player, traveling around, went to Europe when I was 17 to play over in Europe. So, my parents could kind of live vicariously through their son when, they were struggling with their jobs and just struggling to survive as a lower middle class family. And I am a much different person now. That is for sure.
Isn't it fascinating, as we look back and we reflect and, you know, that question, who are we? What do we want to be? And it evolves. And who do we listen to, that shapes our thinking, shapes our beliefs, where do we get applause or a wagging finger from? And it's sort of almost a full cycle, isn't it? Where we listen to parents, we don't want to listen to parents. then we want parents to listen to us. They don't want to listen to us. And then, this sort of
Yeah.
cycle as we go through
It's
is fascinating. So that initial kind of shift from Charles, the sports guy, gifted in that area, traveling to explore that, what led you from there into banking? Was it events? Was it parents? What was it
it
that led you
was
into that?
wanting to make money, basically. I went to a state college here, University of Buffalo, and state school, and was playing football there, and thought that I want to be this big football star, but I didn't have those skills to go to the next level. That was the reality of it. And so I studied marketing. I'm a Pisces, so I'm a very I love the universe, astrology, things like that. So I'm more of a creative soul at nature. So I did marketing and also finance. How to make money, things like that I did not have. And I was basically sick of being broke, all right? Sick of not having money, sick of taking on jobs just to like have something. I mean, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating to want to be somewhere and just not be there. And so upon getting ready to graduate, my sister, who was older, she went to another state college, University at Albany. She had a job on Wall Street. She went down to Manhattan, had a job on Wall Street, and she was making money. So I was dumbfounded. I was like, my sister's making money? Like, seriously, my sister, right? And so I said, you know what? I'm going to go down and I'm going to take over the universe. I'm going to go down and follow in her footsteps. I'm going to go and work for some financial firms down on Wall Street, and I'm going to take over the world. And that was my mentality. So I left Buffalo and went down to Manhattan and ended up working for the next 8 years of my life for two financial institutions. So yeah, it was really just I wanted to change my life. I wanted to be the big Gordon Gecko,
Yeah.
just that was my thing. I had an ego, and I was just young, and I was like, I want to take over Manhattan. That was my mindset going down there. And wow, it came a long way in 8 years. But working for these two financial institutions, what I realized was, you know, I was in it. I was in it to a point where I was with the upper echelon. We were managing $100 million and up. It was the ultra high net worth divisions of the bank. We were the top producing team. And I had a house in the Hamptons. I had a brownstone. I had cars. I was flying in private jets to Monaco. I mean, I remember being on a yacht in Monaco, paid by the bank, and hanging out with our clients. I mean, it was surreal because I was not used. This is not me. This is not my world. It was
And
very
even though you said you're 50, this wasn't the 80s we're talking about. This is what, early 2000s?
early 2000s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. Here I was, and then the banking world was very different. It wasn't as highly regulated as it is now. You can get away with a lot more back then. It was like kind of like the Wild West. So if you were making money, it was like almost like a free for all. So here I was, gallivanting around with the rich and famous, and I'm like, what is this life? This is crazy. But the weird thing was I was more depressed than any point in my life as I was achieving all this, as I had the money and I was buying things and traveling, and I was like, I wanted to love it so much. And but I was so unhappy. And I was starting to think that something was wrong with me. Like, Charles, like, wake up. What is wrong with you? You should be loving this life. It's the perfect, dream. People would kill for this life, right? They would want to be like this. And so I was struggled. I really did, about like who I was, and like, why was I not happy? And I think it just stems, looking back, that I was doing what other people told me to do. And I excelled at it. Like, whenever they told me, hey, I went out there and I was a salesman, and I was with people and loving life. But then when I got away from it, I was like, "Ugh, I'm just not happy." And I feel like a lot of people do things that they're just not happy doing because, one, maybe they're nervous. They don't want to take risks. They don't want to go out on their own, and they're used to being told what to do, and they live out their lives being unhappy. And what I learned was, I'm a very observant person. I watch things. I study people. I'm very curious in nature. It's just who I am. And I watched our clients, and some of them had, I mean, insane amounts of money. And I'd be sitting in meetings, and they'd be shaking. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm going to lose it all. I'm going to lose this money. I'm so nervous. And it was an interesting trait I learned with humans. Now, not all humans, but a lot of humans. You get nervous at the future the older you get. You don't want to start your life over, right? You don't want to have to like have everything collapse and you have to start over at an older age when you work so hard to, build up this, life and family and wealth and mortgages and cars and have all this stuff going on. You don't want to start over. And so I noticed this and I said, this very interesting trait. Well, I might be that person someday. I might be very nervous of the future the older I am in life. So I'm young. I wasn't married at the time, did not have kids. I felt that was the opportune moment to take a big risk. And now this is very hard for me because I was not used to taking this types of risks because I was always told what to do. I shut my mouth. I did my job. I excelled at it. So to give up this lifestyle, I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I even did it. Like, I just think back, I'm like, what pushed me to do it? But I will tell you what pushed me. It was really, starting to be so unhappy and not like this wealth because what it does to people sometimes is not a good thing. It takes over people's minds. It makes them do things they wouldn't normally do. And so I saw it firsthand on September 11th. And that was the pivotal moment which changed my life and my trajectory for forevermore. What happened those days, obviously, I was living there in Hell's Kitchen, had a brownstone there. And it's still vivid, that the burning smells of what was going on and the sirens, the pandemonium, and people are just in shock and didn't know what was fully going on. But at the time, what it was all hands on deck. Every banker had to go to an office, any office. Now, if you couldn't get downtown, I worked in Park Avenue in Midtown. So fortunately, I just had to go cross town, but you had to get to an office right away. And I remember, being this busy worker bee, the good worker I was, throwing my suit on and running cross town to my desk to do my job for my clients and my business, right? To my bank. And here I was running there, getting there, and it is, the phones are ringing off the hook and everyone's going crazy. You fully don't know what's going on. But I remember vividly answering those calls. And we had clients from around the world, and I was thinking they want to know the play-by-play. You guys, okay, what's happening there? Fill us in. And it wasn't that. It was people screaming at us. Where is our money? Where is our stocks, our bonds, our cash? I want faxes of our statements now. And it was the most joying experience to go through to see humans act in this self-serving manner when people were dying around us, right? I was on that in that moment. And I felt so angry and sad to see these people act this way. And at one point, I was so angry. This guy was barking at me, and I was like, you know what? We're okay. And it was almost like he was in this trance, and it snapped him out. Like, oh, oh yeah, how are you? How are you guys? It was the craziest thing to see people act this way. And I think that was the moment where it hit me that this was not the life for me. I wanted to figure myself out and maybe take a chance. Now, what I thought was, um, you know, people are terrified of failure. They really are. They're terrified of, society. There's a lot of pressure.
Failure, loss of something that they've already got or perceived that they have,
Yeah.
that
To be a
prevention
loser. You
mentality.
know, no one wants to be a loser.
Mm.
You're terrible. You failed. But the weird thing about our world is this: we learn the most from failure. And so I don't understand why failure is such a bad thing. It should be embraced. We should pick people up. Hey, pick yourself up, change, readjust, right? I've learned the most of my life personally. I'm sure you have similar things and other people do, from falling on your face and being, wow, that was stupid. Whoa, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to readjust my life. I'm going to change myself. And like, why are we not doing that more to people, to challenge them to go out there and say, hey, go for it. You are only young once. This is your life. Make the best of it. But it is not like that. It is so sad that we live in a world where people just poo-poo you. They laugh at you. They make fun of you. And so at that point, I was so unhappy with my life. I said, you know what is the worst thing that could happen to me if I leave this world and I try something and I failed? Big freaking deal. I looked at it and said, why am I so scared? Why am I terrified?
Yeah.
If I failed, you know what? Yes, they're going to laugh at me, ridicule me, but you know what? Bet you I can go back and get my old job back.
Yeah.
I bet you.
It's
And
that
they would fire me.
perspective, isn't it? Of, can I deal with and be okay with the loss, the failure of whichever decision it is? Big whoop. Can I pick myself up? Can I go again the next day? And sometimes the challenge is we can't see what it would look like if we failed, or that we'd have enough resources or enough energy when we're hit to be able to continue because we play 100 stories in our heads, right? Of all of those things. But the
Mhm.
reality, both when it goes well and when it goes bad, is different to the thought of it, right? So you
Yeah.
went for it in your world at that time. Of course, we only know what we know. You'd known that life, you'd known that world, and as you said, relatively low risk. Hadn't got family, and single, all of those things. Let's give it a go, give it a crack. And you went through a phase of setting up several venues in and around Manhattan, I think, wasn't it? Before then, founding Star Vodka. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about not just the creation, but perhaps what you were going through at the various points, as you've done so far with the story of, we all often go, oh, it's this process. Why did I do this? How did I do it? But what was going on for you during those moments is so fascinating, Charles.
You know what? One thing I want to touch on, because when I was ready to leave, I decided one day I said I'm quitting. And now that's crazy because I had no plan. I had no plan at all. Didn't know really what I was going to do, but I had to get out. It was like that big moment. I'm going to quit. They're like, wait, where are you going? I don't know. You're crazy. Take a sabbatical. Come back and there's more money waiting for you. We know the money is what you want. And they fought me. Really, it was a weird thing. It was like the universe, it was this battle. They were fighting me to keep me in this world where everyone else was. And you stay in this moment. All my friends were in this world. And that said, oh, you're going to break away. And are you really going to do this? You're going to break away from this all. Now, the last day, my final day was leaving. They had a going away, which was very nice. So we're going to go away and all. And and I was shaking. I was nervous. I was literally tearing. I was like, am I doing the right thing? I was so terrified. And I remember this last moment, some of the big bankers showed up, the big boys. And this is a Deutsche Bank. And they pulled me aside and they pulled me into a room and they go, listen, we want to wish you the best of luck. And we wish we were you. And boy, they said, we have mortgages, families, we have so much on our plate. We can never leave this job and leave this world. And that stuck with me. And they said, go for it. We wish you the best of luck. And that was almost like that sending off moment to say, like, wow, I got confidence again. I felt strong. Let me go out there and let's see what this world is going to bring me. And then so then that brought me to you know what? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drink and party and have fun in Manhattan, and this is gonna be awesome. And I was out there, and at the time, and, Manhattan was just this melting pot from people from around the world, and I love meeting people. I've loved talking to all types of people. I just love learning from people and hearing from them and their stories. It was just a thing that I just love to do. When drinking and partying was in the mix, and I was having so much fun, I actually made myself lean. I sold a lot of these assets I had because when you're lean, you could truly figure out what you want to do. When you have all these overriding bills and mortgages, sometimes they control you. And I didn't want to be controlled at this point in time in my life. So I made myself lean, get back to basics, what I like to do. And I just fell in love with spirits in general because if I was out partying, I'm like, you know what? I'm in a sweet mood. I'm gonna have this cocktail. I'm in a straight mood. I'm gonna drink this whiskey. I'm in a salty mood. I'm gonna have this dirty martini. It gave me whatever I felt. It was so fascinating. And I would look and be like, how do they even make these things? It was kind of like cool and different, but like I left it there and I was drinking. And then that's when I got involved with hospitality in New York City. And I ended up buying a lounge with a good friend of mine and one of my best friends in the famous Chelsea Hotel, the basement, 23rd Street. And this infamous hotel, we had the basement lounge, and it was an infamous place. It was wild, man. Some wild times back in the mid 2000s. I mean, it was awesome. Some stories I cannot share, but it was so cool to see what goes on. It was decadent. You didn't have phones where people were consumed with this virtual world. They were in the moment with you. People were in that moment. It was so amazing. And like they had to be there with you. You had to just, you had to go out there and just meet people. You had to. If you want to meet a girl, you had to do it. You couldn't just sit there on your phone and try to swipe things. You had to learn your skills. You had to learn how to be out there and be outgoing and be different. And it's sad because that world is kind of gone, and we live through a different time, which I feel fortunate to have lived through that world. From there, I expanded to a sports bar. Went out to the Hamptons. I had a house out there, which I sold, but then I went back out there, had the largest nightclub out there, and I'm like, this is amazing. Got to meet a lot of celebrities, VIPs. Got to understand what they liked, what they didn't like. So I learned all types of people, what their tastes were all about, what their thoughts were on things. So I had an interesting learning curve from people and humans. It was fascinating, and that is what led me on this path to Star Vodka. And it was more of a being different, because in the end, I'm just another human. I am. But I wanted to stand out. I wanted to be different. And my thought was, well, there's a lot of venues you can go to. Whoop-de-doo, who am I? Why am I so different? Why am I so special? Why would they want to come to my places? But my thought was, since I love this booze so much, these spirits, what if I created my own vodka company? What if I had something and you guys, you flew in from the UK and you said, you know what, oh, I'm going to go to this place here. And I met you and your friends. And I say, oh my gosh, guys, nice to meet you. I want you to taste my vodka. You'd say, who the hell are you? You have your own vodka? Huh? Doesn't make sense. Now that would stand out. And now if you liked it, maybe you come back for more. Maybe you tell your friends. Maybe if you're back in the UK or you're in LA or you're somewhere in your local town and you go to that local liquor store and there is my vodka on the shelf, you'd say, oh my goodness, I know this guy. This vodka's amazing. So
There's
by
the
me,
marketing guy coming out.
there it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By me meeting you, I could
Mhm.
start a groundswell to sell a spirit line. It was so simple to me. It made all the sense in the world. But the problem I had was, how the hell do you make vodka or any spirits? I had no freaking clue. I knew how to drink them. That was it. And so that took me on this fascinating journey of like, okay, well, if I'm going to make a vodka, one, how do you make it? But I've always heard Russian vodka was the best. It has to be from Russia. That's the motherland of vodka. That's all I kept hearing from people over and over and over again. It was like weird. But I always would ask people, okay, well, why? Can you tell me why? Give me an idea of understanding why is Russian vodka? Just don't, not because it's was born there or whatever. I don't know, but why? And the weird thing is, no one had a clue what they were talking about. None. And it was just fascinating. And the weird thing about humans, and not everyone, but it was like the more times people hear the same thing over and over and over again, it's the truth. And they believe it and they want to believe it. And then they defend it as if they owned a distillery. So they'd be like, no, no, no. And I'm like, well, come on. Can you give me some ideas of why you're saying this? No, I heard from people and blah, blah, and no one ever researched it. And it's kind of sad, but it makes a lot of sense. When I look at our world right now, there's so much nonsense going on, so much BS, so much you don't know it's the truth anymore, right? Everyone is telling you this, the news said this and that, and it's the truth, and shut your mouth and do what you're told. And I don't understand why, but it makes sense because we are all so busy with our own lives. We want to trust. We want to understand. We don't want to have to go home and have to research all the crap in our world to see what is the truth, right? So being that we have so much limited time, people are more trustworthy of a lot of things, of the news, of things that are going on here. But we're getting duped in so many different fashions. And so it's hard to understand what is the truth anymore. And that is so hard. And it bothers me so much. So I was so sick of it. Now, this is obviously it's so much more prevalent now. Now is really scary with finding the truth in anything. But back then, I was sick of the BS from hearing it from people. I went to Russia. I went to Russia, and now this is 20 years ago. You had to be, now, of course, we're not allowed to go there with all that's going on in the world right now, sadly, but you have to be invited into the country. So I had friends that lived in Moscow. So they're nice enough to invite me over to see Russia. And now I went into Moscow, and it's a decadent city. I don't know if you've ever been to Moscow. I was in awe. It was just it was gorgeous. I was just shocked of how beautiful, and the restaurants and the people were dressed up. And here I was wearing t-shirts, and they're like, I stood out like a sore thumb. I must have been an American wearing sneakers and a t-shirt, right? Here's this American coming in, but everyone was dressed to nines, and the place were amazing. And I was like, okay, I want to go see some distilleries. And they're like, what? No, you don't. I said, no, no. I want to see, Russian vodka. I want to see it made. How is it made? What's so special about it? And they were vehemently against doing this because they are not in this beautiful city of Moscow at all. They are far outside of Moscow. Now, maybe things have changed now, but this did not exist. And so they were like, all right, fine, let's go. So off we go way outside of Moscow to these mega factories. Mega. And I had this fantasy at first of what Russian vodka was all about. I thought it was these dancing, gorgeous models, and they're serving the vodka, and there's diamonds everywhere, and there's gold-plated distilleries, and it's everyone's having the best time of their lives. And I was so excited to experience this. It was nothing like this at all. These were dirty, huge factories, and they're pumping out vodkas, and they're almost all different labels of different these mega brands, all made in the same place. And I'm walking through it, and I'm like, what is going on? And so I said something, and they thought I was being condescending, and I was not. I was just not. I was just shocked. I go, why are you doing this? And they said something to me that I will never forget, and it actually was a life-changing moment. They said, you Americans, we could piss in a bottle, and you would drink it, think is the best thing ever. We don't have to do anything. And that was the best lifelong lesson I could have ever have learned. People believe what they want to believe. Good luck changing their minds, right? Good luck. So I came back to the States, and I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe what I saw. Shocked. Now, I wanted to make something in this country. I'm an American. I love this country. I want to support this country the best I can and support the people the best I can. So I was trying to look for a distillery, how do I go learn? Can I find a distillery that would teach me this business? And a lot of them didn't care. It was the start of the craft revolution that took hold, the craft distilling world that blew up over the last 20 years. But this, everyone's kind of scurrying around, especially in New York State. It was just at just the beginning. And so no one wanted to work with me or whatever. And I found a distillery in Bend, Oregon on the West Coast. And Lily was making phone calls, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking of making my own vodka company. And everyone else was like, huh? Get lost, man. What are you, crazy? You're gonna make a vodka? And they were actually nice. They go, you're from New York? Yeah, we'll teach you. Sure. Maybe it'll help us. You have a lot of contacts in New York City. Maybe. And so with their help, I created a company called Star Vodka. And my thought was with Star was not about anything astrological, but it was with my venues. I had a venue called Star Room in the Hamptons, and it was always about if you thought different, if you were special, you were a star. Everyone is a star. It is your mind that might hold you back from being a star, being special, being different. And so I thought was if you got into my clubs, if you got through the doorman, you were a star. If you were drinking my vodka, because it is different, it is special, it is limited production, limited batch, you were a star. You sought out things to be different. And those are the people that I wanted around. Those are the people I felt more comfortable with, people that opened their mind, more independent thinkers. They weren't consumed by being part of a tribe or a group. They were different. They're okay being different. And so that was the star concept. There's a big gold star. I focused on non-genetically modified corn. It was actually, and that was another thing that took me on this thing of like, what the hell is going on with our food systems? Now, you guys have more protections out there in Europe. We have decimated our country. We have sold ourselves out, and it's so shocking and disturbing. When I started getting involved with it, I was trying to source grains from the middle of our country, want to support farmers, right? For our farmers here. We couldn't. We had to source grains from Canada in the Pacific Northwest because they had protected grains. I didn't realize this, that we had genetically modified grains everywhere. And this is, ages ago. And now it is, we have wrecked our soils. I just can't believe this. And so I was learning about this and I'm like, whoa, what is going on with the food systems? So I was kind of thrust into this world that was like, wow, I'm very scared and shocked of what is going on here. So non-GMO corn. We focused on water that was naturally purified through the Cascade Mountains. It was lava rock. So it was part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. So the lava rock is a natural biofilter. It was purifying this water, this mountain water. It was beautiful. It was, amazing water. So we were utilizing that water with the vodka, and obviously we had a distillation method using carbon and crushed lava rock, and I launched Star Vodka. It was Star Vodka by Charles Ferri. I had my signature on the bottle. Like, who the hell is this guy putting his name on it? But I wanted to personalize an impersonal business. Okay, it was about a story about my journey and you being different, drinking this vodka, and it exploded. It was like, boom, what? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And now I have a product and now I'm selling it and I'm meeting people and I'm doing the tastings. I'm in liquor stores and I'm in states. It was shocking. It was the most shocking thing in my life to be kind of jettisoned in this world. It was amazing. It was exhilarating to see people enjoy something that I felt so passionate about and that I created with them. And so I got so busy, I really, it kind of consumed my life. My thought was, wow, I can potentially sell this anywhere in the world. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. And so I got out of all the bars and nightclubs. I kind of got myself out there because my time was the most important right now. I had to minimize, had to kind of direct my energies into the thing that I thought had the biggest opportunity. So I got out of all those bars and nightclubs now to really grow this brand. And as I was investing in it, growing it, I hit a huge wall. And it's just like, I feel like, and I don't know if you're similar, I feel like, when you feel like you're on top of the world, the gods of the universe are there to smack you back to earth. You are immortal, and we're gonna make you, we're gonna make you pick yourself up over and over. You're not gonna have a great week, Charles. You're gonna have a bad week now, or like this year is gonna suck for you, but next year maybe that'll be better. Life is so frustrating. It really is. It's ups and downs and good days and bad days. And it's just so frustrating sometimes and so exhilarating the next. But that is life, right? That is a life we all live. And so I hit a huge wall when I thought I was on top of the world. The distillery that was so wonderful for me got too busy with their own products. They couldn't meet the demand. I needed more product to grow. I could not grow. And so I got bitter and angry. Of course, this is happening to me. Of course, when I think things are going so well for me, I'm going to hit this huge wall. And so I had distributors, that were, basically distributors or, selling your products. So, distributors would go with their big trucks, pick up the loads, bring it to their warehouses, and they would distribute it. And I would actually help market it, sell it, going out there doing my thing. And so now I have angry calls. Charles, where's your product? Where's your product? We need product. Hello. We have a wait list for your product in these stores. What is going on now? Of course, I'm angry, but I couldn't be fully honest and tell them, hey, I can't meet the demand, right? Because what are they going to say? They're going to say, Charles, step aside and let the big boys play. You know what? Good try. You can't do this. You can't hack it. Move aside and let someone else do the job. And it's, I get it. They're in the business to make money. I totally understand that's their world. And so I was kind of saying, well, the grains, we had an issue here. I was like, make up these excuses, the grain, we're going to have the shipment next month. It's coming. We'll take a wait list. We'll get people on the wait list. We'll get it to them. I promise you. But that was the light bulb moment that said, Charles, you better look for your own facility, your own distillery, your own place to make your own stuff, because they could one day say, Charles, we love you, but we can't help you anymore. And they flick the switch off, and that is it. It's game over. I was so reliant on them, and I was nervous because I was reliant. I just depended on them. And I was like, wow, I cannot depend on anyone. I really need to create my own place, my own home, something different and special for people to come and explore. Now, at this point in time, that's where I met my business partner, Paul Sears. He was also in hospitality, very ingrained. He was much more on a trajectory of bars, nightclubs. He had a retractable rooftop. He had some places that were amazing. He wanted a hotel. His next move was a hotel. He wanted to get into that boutique hotel thing, have his venues, restaurants and bars. And so at the time, I was promoting a lot of Star Vodka events. And so I was doing Star Vodka events at his venues. And we were doing fashion shows sponsored by Star Vodka. It was amazing. I'd be on the mic, doing things like that. And so we got very, very close and drinking a lot of Star Vodka together, of course. But we were brainstorming ideas, and he was always, I want a hotel. It'd be so, that. And I was like, I want this distillery. And it was interesting how we just brainstorm ideas and, could you blend hospitality with craft distilling? Could you have a place to make things, teach people, have a restaurant where they can eat and drink those spirits and stay over on one property? It sounds crazy 15 years ago. It was crazy to think of that. It's not so crazy now, right? It's not so at all. But I always say, like, I think we drank way too much together, and we had fun doing it, but we were drinking too much together. But we opened up our minds to what if. And that put me on this path of searching. We were doing a business plan and ideas, but like we thought we'd have like I'm from the Hudson Valley. I grew up there, so I knew that area. I knew the proximity to New York City. It was like that center area of like, Boston, New York. It was very close for people to travel to. It's a beautiful area. There's an abundance of water, a lot of important factors, rich soil for growability, for farming. So there's a lot of great factors with Hudson Valley. So it's not just like, hey, I'm going to go here because I live there. There's some amazing factors for the Hudson Valley that help a business like this. And so I started searching up there. My parents will live up there, and they live in Rhinebeck now, but I grew up in a small town called Hopeless Junction. We called it Hopeless Junction. I think it's a nice town, but it's a great town to grow up in. But my parents live in Rhinebeck, which is a beautiful town, and they're in real estate. And so we started searching and searching and searching and searching and searching for this iconic unicorn property that I was in desperate to find. And, I thought we'd have this, hills, and it'd be pretty and majestic, and we would grow into it, have lodging, and have a restaurant. People could kind of walk the trails maybe, and experience something, and then they would drink what we're doing. And it would be a great story to teach people about what we're trying to do that's so different. And 3 years of my life go by searching. And I think that was probably some of the hardest days of my life, to be searching, because, I got married along the way. So I get married and I'm fumbling around with my business, right? Because I can't make enough to grow. It's almost like you're gasping for air. You get the product, it sells out. Gasping, waiting. The next product comes, you're gasping, you're waiting. What's going on? What are you doing? Are you on the right path? People are not too nice in our world, especially friends and family. Sometimes they're the most ruthless, right? You get your buddies teasing, hey, you look like crap today. You're a moron. What an idiot you are. Like family is very, very direct sometimes. And sometimes we can be very cruel to each other without understanding how people feel inside, right? You don't know what someone's feeling like inside, but sometimes you say things and it's just like, you don't know really what they're going through. We don't. And so, you know, mine was really rough because it would just be the laughter and the ridicule of like, you're a moron, you're an idiot, you're a fool, you're going to ruin your life. I heard that a lot. But the hardest part was having to go out and see people. Now, well, I was trying to be focused on my business, but I just didn't want to see acquaintances, people that I knew, because I knew it was going to get ugly at some point. It's usually the same things that happens over and over again. First, you meet people or your friends and family. It's a small talk. Oh, the weather. Oh, what do you want to drink? Blah, 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 blah. Then it gets to the real juicy stuff. And mine was, it'll be first the small talk, then it'll be, oh, hey, Charles, Did you find what you're looking for? What an idiot. You're such a moron. What happened to you? That still burns me to this day. What happened to you? Now, you hear what happened to you enough of your over and over and over again, you feel like something is seriously wrong with you. You feel like you have issues, mental problems, you're on the wrong path. What is wrong with me? What do I do? Should I just quit and go back to doing what they want me to do? And I, you know, I can only imagine how many people in their own lives give up what they want to be, who they want to be, aspiring for goals and aspirations because of the people around them, a society, the pressures, conforming, be like us. Even if we are miserable, you have to be like us. And that is a gut-wrenching thing to go through, especially when you're just trying to figure your life out, right? I'm sure so many people are the same way, and I'm still figuring my life out, right? Am I on the right path? I don't know. Or do any of us know?
I
Really?
think it's a life's journey, isn't it? To constantly, are we on the right path? And actually to just enjoy the path we're on and celebrate that, and to be in this state of duality of at peace, yet always wanting more. And
Yeah.
you mentioned a few things along the way about how important it is to have cheerleaders and people who back you up, and how empowering that is to give you confidence and rise. And then how challenging it is when you have people who are, as you've just described, not your cheerleaders in that process. And as you then, because we're coming to some time, and the story of finding the venue, all the challenges around, zoning, challenges around, just getting people on board, then they leave their roles or die or various things, right? We need people around. And I'm interested as we come to the final piece in terms of how have you managed to rally a team around you from your own trials, vision as it comes through. We need to inspire, we need to recruit, we need to mobilize, we need to train people around us. Now, your current, venue, current version of Charles that is now, how's that journey? How have you found that? What's going on right now? What is maybe I'm going to phrase it this way, and it's by Keith Ferrazzi, and he talks about sweet and sour. So if you look at the lens through your team, something sweet right now and something sour right
Oh
now. So
man.
something that's really challenging.
Yeah.
And those two responses through the lens of building a team around this vision of the new venue.
Sure, sure. Yeah. I mean, I could talk for hours, and the hardest thing is right now with COVID. After COVID, the world has drastically changed. People are not there anymore. It's so weird. We cannot find the labor, the people. I don't know where they all went. I have no idea, but it's very difficult to find humans to do jobs anymore. It's really hard. So we had to reinvent our business, our business, and focus on. We have a lot of young people. We have a lot of high schoolers that are want to work, they want to learn, and we have some older people, but a lot of people in the middle, they don't want to work. I don't know what is going on. So we had to really focus on these young people who are outgoing. They want to learn, and we had to teach them a lot of things that I wish I learned at a young age. And we're really growing these young people that hopefully they're going to grow with us. And it's been a very difficult process because a lot don't work out, and you're trying to weed through things. You're trying to grow your business, but you need the people that are behind you that can help rally it. So really, for the first few years, we were fumbling through this old building, adding renovations, trying to understand this old building. How does it feel? How do you feel as a customer? But also trying to train people to believe in the story of Hudson House, believe in our spirits. Why are they so different? Why are we different? And it comes from me and Paul, and we constantly are training and training, and we make our staff go on tours. The tours that your editor went on, we make them do it over and over and over to hear the story, hear the passion, hear how close we were to failure. how easy it is to fail, how there is a fine line between success and utter failure that we lived through for 6 years. We first bought the property in 2015 from trying to get the property open and let them believe, wow. And you hear this over and over, and you're like, wow. And here I am in this magical property, this old world building that probably shouldn't be here because it was a bidding war and everyone's bidding on it was going to level it. It will be gone. So if we didn't get it, for the building's sake, the beauty of it, the architecture, the history, it will be gone. And it's really kind of comes from us, our passion. We're trying to get our passion, our belief, our everything we're doing instilled on them. And we're getting that. We have people that believe. And I think when they believe and we encourage them, the positivity, you're having a real bad day. How are you guys doing? What's wrong? You okay? You need a break. Take a minute. And it's us trying to be this uplifting experience, because I've worked at a lot of places where it's a hellhole. They're angry, they're bitter, they're yelling at each other. Like, who the hell wants to be in that environment? And being that there's so much hard to try to find labor, you have to really work hard with people around you. And if you have good people, you have to cherish them. You have to, they are partners of ours. I'm not an owner boss. I am their partner. That's how I feel our success is going to be dependent on them, really. Believe it. Because if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I am hoping that they carry that torch, that belief, that positivity, the encouragement that has to carry on, or else the Hudson House Distillery will die. And so you need people for that.
It's interesting you talk about, the challenge of A, finding people, B, finding good people and molding them and orbiting around a story, a philosophy, a belief. I've just watched season 3 of Ted Lasso. And so I don't know if you've ever seen any
No,
of
I've never seen it.
Ted
Yeah.
Lasso. It's a fascinating story about American, fictional story, American coming over to a coach a soccer team and takes them to the Premier League, and with his beautiful philosophy and various things. And one of the pieces is his little handwritten poster above the wall um, in their kit room that says "Believe." And it is all about building that just belief in each other, the support in each other. And then when you find people who are good, it takes work, it takes effort to build a place that people get good work done and enjoy doing it, rather than it being miserable and a mess and a disconnect from there. So the
You want to
challenge
find
of finding them, the sweetness of when you find them and they are part of it, and the desire that if any leg of the stool went and fell over, that it would still maintain and still run. What would
yeah.
be a real piece of you know advice you would give for people that are maybe in a similar boat, struggling to find really good talent? um how did you position it? You said, oh, I went with this generation, with younger people, and went with training. What are other aspects, Charles, to that?
So we do things. We had to out, change our mindset of how traditionally you looking for staff, and people put ads out. Oh, help wanted. Or, you're not going to find probably the right people you're looking for. I think that especially if you're business specific, you want to look for people that you think are going to fit right for your business. You don't want just to fit someone in there and have like that triangle you're fitting into a square or whatever. You're like, we got to make this work, right? I need a body. In the end, that's not going to help your business grow. It's not going to help your brand. So you really might have to do with less. But also when we do get we had some people coming in here. We asked them, do you have other friends, other individuals that you know of, other people that you think would fit in this environment? Do you think they would be happy here? Do you think they would have the outgoing personality like yourself? So we're kind of trying to use other people around us as our eyes. And as our eyes and ears, instead of just blanketing, sending stuff out there. We don't have time to be constantly interviewing, bring someone in, they don't work out. Let's do it again. I mean, it's exhausting, right? And you're trying
It's
to grow
painful.
your
It's
company
painful. Yeah.
and grow your brand. And so What happens is if you're using too much of your energy and time doing things other than growing your company and brand and image, you're going to fail. You're not going to have the ability to really be successful as you want your business to be. So you have to rely on other people and really put it on them. Listen, we want people like you. What do you think? Empower them to get involved, empower them to feel like this is their business. And that's what we try to do is this is your home. It is your place, just like it is mine. I'm no different from you
And do you
guys.
structure that
No,
with actual equity and options, or is it more of a philosophy to feel a belonging, or is there a structure of employee ownership?
correct.
How do you manage that?
So that is the next phase of our business. So our first one was it was to prove the concept. Because you know what? In the first year, we after COVID, we could have failed. I could be on my face and they're laughing at me saying, Charles, we told you you're an idiot, you're a moron, you're a fool. You ruined your life. Good job, idiot. Because that's what they would have done, pointing the finger and you're an idiot. I told you. Why would you even take this risk? Right. And so we proved it, we grew it. We had to get a lot of things that we couldn't get done during this process because COVID the banks cut our legs out. No one believed in the project. Everyone pulled back from us and we were like desperate. We were even liquidating retirement monies at one point in time to keep this going. And I look back on it and we could have wrecked our lives. We really could have. And we had investors came in, they believed in what we were trying to do, and it was a crumbling mess. And it's shocking where it came from. The pictures are shocking, and but we did it. So it was one, get our brands on path, get the property open, finish up our event space, add things that are going to grow the revenue, so we can be open year round. That will then help fuel the distillery. So we needed revenue streams that were going to kind of stabilize the business, keep the lights on, right? But also help grow the spirit side of the business. So we had Black Creek whiskey, bourbon, rye whiskey, Altair vodka, which was an evolution of Star, and we have a gin line. So we needed all these things going on, but we needed the revenue. So it was just a very daunting process. But now that we've gotten to the point where we've stabilized the business, we are now accelerating with our growth. Now we have the time to kind of focus in on what is the best path for our employees? Should it be a revenue share? And that's kind of what we're going to be doing now is we're going to offer a revenue share. We have a 401k plan, which I don't know many restaurants and bars or distilleries that offer 401k out the gate for people. We have new people like, wait, you have a 401k? I'm 18 years old. What does that even mean? So because I'm from finance, we have a matching with our 401k. So we have a matching already from a 401k's perspective. So, I mean, I wish I had that for my jobs out of 18 years old, doing something like that where I actually put money away and the business was going to invest in me. That's amazing. So we encourage younger people. They have to be there for 6 months to make sure that it's going to work out. But then they're eligible for a 401k that we have a matching. Now we're going to step that up a notch because there are some people that we really want to stay with us for as hopefully as long as possible. We will offer a revenue share, another partnership type of vehicle where they will have a quarterly, kind of bonus structure where they'll be part owners, really owners of the business, of the
Yeah.
growth. And I feel like this day and age, you have to have people invested they have to be with you. They have to feel like they are your partner, your equal, or else they're just going to walk away or they're going to get uninterested. They're going to get
Yeah.
bored, you know?
I guess it comes down to, for everybody, that's in a position of leading others, what are we optimizing for? And you might be optimizing to make it really easy to come in and out, and you want an element of transition. The film industry is very famous for that. You rally around a project, then you go, and you rally around another project, and you go. But you have some that sustain their relationships, whether that is script writers or costume people or producers and certain actors. But then there's a whole load that move, and you optimize the system to function in that way. There's others where perhaps it was more the norm that people would have a job for life. Now, that concept isn't part of it, right? You go somewhere, you go somewhere else, and maybe in the future we have a portfolio career of many things at the same time. To what are we optimizing for? Do we want a sense of belonging? Do we want a sense of purpose and connection that's deeper than just, oh, I'm going there to get money? actually it's a big part of me, my life. I learn there, I socialize. It's a part of my community. And so as we come to the end, this almost needs an episode 2, Charles, because we've just started
Yeah,
to get going. But it's a
I
question
know.
I ask every guest at the end, and it's linked to this whole thought around adaptability and how people can evolve their future, their lives, their change, and what is the future me. And you mentioned a word several times throughout our conversation today, and that's curiosity. And this is a homage to our very first guest, who is a specialist in curiosity. She wrote the Curiosity Code. And it's, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And what was it?
Well, I did go on a vacation for the first time in 4 years. Does that count? I actually had a little bit of a break, which was last week. But for the first time, let me say, you know what I do? I love to do this. I love to create a new recipe, like cooking. So just to keep my mind going. I don't like to make the same mundane things. So like, my wife and I one day were like, I'm gonna make a bourbon infused sauce, the things like that, just to kind of like, it's almost like a mad scientist. So I'll take some of the things that we are already creating and I'll make it into a sauce or a pasta or things like that. And like, we like to cook a lot to see what we're making, but we always make things different. I don't like to kind of make things the same way. I also make, I make pancakes for my kids, but I also like to kind of tweak it and then get their input. Like, did you like that one? Did you like this one? Did you like that? Things like that. So I always try to keep things fresh and different. I don't like to kind of keep things mundane. And also one thing to reiterate with staffing and people, we keep their jobs very different. They don't do the same thing every day. Sometimes they might be working in the distillery. They might be doing bottling. Maybe they're going to actually help in the kitchen. Maybe they're going to serve outside. Maybe they're going to learn how to bartend. I feel like in this day and age, you have to be nimble. You have to keep your mind fresh. Have to do things differently always. You cannot keep doing things the same way, because that's where you start losing people. The way things are right now with their phones, everything like that, the life is going by so fast, and you're bombarded with so many things. You have to keep people interested, and myself included. I constantly are doing everything I can differently. Maybe I go a different route to work, even like literally. I gotta go a different route. Let me see these different trees over here. But like, I always try to do things different. So I guess almost every day, it's the first time for something new on my front.
I love that, how it, you know, you, I recognized a lot of similarities in you, Charles, of how talking through your thinking, even in that question, evolving from, oh, well, what was it? Oh, it's a vacation. And then, oh, it's recipes, to the conclusion that actually having a first time mindset. So it doesn't have to be the skydive. It doesn't have to be this massive, event. It's in the everyday, making it the first time, and with those new eyes and new thoughts to be different. I love the final piece you mentioned there from the staff perspective of mobility, employee mobility, of people moving around in their roles in the work, and giving them new exciting things to learn and move. And I've heard a lot more of that. We've done over 120 interviews now on this podcast. And it is a recurring theme of a trend of people wanting mobility, in terms of, no, mastery. Gyro Dreams of Sushi documentary, where no, the apprenticeship is 30 years just doing rice, to, hey, maybe I'm serving, maybe I'm then bottling, maybe I'm doing something else. And that will attract a certain type of person. It'll give them food, it will give them energy to learn and expand. So thank you. If people want to find out more, want to come and check out either one of your spirits or the actual venue of Hudson House, how do they get in touch, Charles?
That'd be amazing. I would love for everyone to come visit us. And you have to come next time you're up here, come visit us. We're about less than an hour and a half from north of New York City on the Hudson River. But they can check out our website. TheHudsonHouseNY.com is our website. They can take a look at there. They can look at everything there. They can actually send an email through that. If they want to send me an email personally, or LinkedIn, they can see me on LinkedIn. They can send me a personal email, because I don't mind people reaching out to me at all. It's Charles at thehudsonhouseny.com. And I hope to see you soon, man. I hope to see you come see us.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your story. And I'm sure many of our listeners, like me, have just been taken in, fascinated by your story and just your tenacity and passion to create in your own life's expression and to create with others things that matter, things that are different, and to stand out. And the memory for me of being a star as a mindset, to celebrate our differences, and yet we're all human. We can all be connected, and that is a wonderful place to be. So thank you very much for your time, Charles. This has been, I
Uh,
think, rescheduled several times. I'm so glad
yeah,
we got it in the bag.
same here, Ross. I really appreciate the time with you, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have the level of adaptability to survive and thrive the rapid changes ahead? Has your resilience got more comeback than a yo-yo? Do you have the ability to unlearn in order to reskill, upskill and break through? Find out today and uncover your adaptability profile and score, your AQ. Visit AQai.io to gain your personalized report across 15 scientifically validated dimensions of adaptability. For a limited time, enter code PODCAST65 for a complimentary AQME assessment. AQai, transforming the way people, teams, and organizations navigate change. Thank you for listening to this episode of Decoding AQ. Please make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast directory, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Please do leave a review and be sure to tune in next time for more insights from our amazing guests.